All right. So one of the biggest problems we have in terms of the fitting world now is the wedges have got so strong in lofts, it's gone crackers, right? You know, they're 43, 44, 41 on whatever. I mean, it's mad, right? So at this point, fitting wedges behind it becomes really hard. But I'm also going to flip that and say, look, if you get a really strong player who's powerful, who hits it a long way, a pitching wedge in a normal set could go too far. It could almost create sometimes a flyer. So that's when you'd back him off or her off into a 46-degree set wedge out into a sort of a special wedge. So if you, for instance, say like a Vokey 46 or a pitching wedge at 46, the pitching wedge at 46 will go a little further and probably have the potential to have a bit more of a flyer in it, maybe. Well, definitely. So you'd back that guy off into a 46. So you see a lot of tour players will have that special 46-degree wedge as a pitching wedge. They'll still hit it 140, 150 for God's sake, but they take away that one that jumps to 160, where the pitching wedge in the set potentially has that problem. Now, if you're a less skilled player or less quick player and you have a strong lofted set of clubs, then you might need to go even 48, 52, 56, 60. You might have to have 5 wedges in play, right? Because you need those gappings. I had a guy this week who was not very comfortable in half shots or controlling it, but was very happy hitting full shots. So he wants 5 wedges. Okay, if you want to just plug and play and hit a certain yardage, we'll give you those wedges that you can just plug and play. Obviously, you've got to blend that yardage in. So you're probably looking at 12 to 15 yards per wedge gap. You don't want to go 10s, so 12 to 15s. Shaft is an interesting one. Do you go with the same shaft or different shaft? Well, I would tend to err towards a slightly heavier, softer shaft in the higher lofts, but in the things like the 46, 48, 50s, I tend to now put more of a set wedge shaft in there because it's sort of an extension of the set. It's like a second pitching wedge. So I tend to use that as like an extension of the set for those of you who are fitting out there. So that's kind of how I see it. I mean, again, it's personal preference, player driven. I have to say it's player driven. But if they're coming for your advice and you're advocating a certain mythology or sort of kind of route to go down, you've got to understand, you've got to get that gapping so that player hasn't got any black holes. If he's 225 out and he's got a bit of a hole, you can kind of go, well, it's tricky, right? But if you're leaving him a hole at 110, you've failed him or her. You've absolutely failed them because you should be able to give them every option down the bottom of the bag to give them the best opportunity to score. And that's the key. You've got to be able to give those guys a chance to score. If they're in that green light, 130 to 30, if you like, they've got to be able to get it close. Crucial.